Good morning and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Rustoria Base Invaders. This morning we got EU7v7s. Today's stream is brought to you by Rusty Pot. But today I cannot cast this one alone. Joined with me in the casting booth is the one and only Inflict. How are you doing today, buddy?
I am doing fantastic. It's been a while since I've casted Rust, so it's good to be back. After a quite long break, unfortunately because of my PC. But I already see some interesting new names on the scoreboard. So let the stories unfold today.
Yep, excited for all of the stories to unfold. Sadly, I missed a couple weeks also. So glad to be back here. But just a reminder for the format for anyone watching here this morning. So already these players have had 30 minutes of grace phase where they can't really attack or destroy anything each other has built, mainly a resource gathering phase. Then we'll have this 30 minutes of attacking phase where you can get 1 point for each kill, but you can't really raid any other bases. And then obviously you could take down those patrol helicopters, which will drop some crates. And then obviously, finally, we will have our final hour and 30-minute raiding phase where you can destroy those bases. And if you take someone else down, you'll get those nice and juicy 40 points.
Yeah, Mob, although they don't have a really good structure right in front of us at the moment, but they are sort of existing over towards the edge of the map. So they're gonna have the next 20 minutes. Should have the next 20 minutes in ease to build at the very least. But still, I wouldn't count on this to hold on. But because we of course have a lot of rather experienced teams in there, Nurik being one of them, that perform consistently. Although Nurik haven't had many victories, but they almost have had a placement in the top five whenever they have survived for that long. So it's going to be interesting because right now, except Nurik and Kabab, I don't think I've seen any other team name before. So it seems like we have a lot of new faces showing up, and that's always good to have around here.
Yep, always good to have Nurk, one of those teams that we have to watch out for today. But it's like you said, that those teams will have some time to, build up their base, but being on the outer edge, maybe not ideal because, you do want to be around some other bases so it gives you easy access to raids and other things like that. But, some of the more experienced teams will know that, if your base is not built up to code, then you will be an easy first rating target.
Oh yeah, and speaking of targets, well, the first attack helicopter has gone down. Uh, and it's going to be interesting to see. Oh, it's landed quite far from everybody else. So Punk, it seems like they're in the clear to take all these crates away just for themselves. No, not even a single player close by to contest it. So this should be 15 free points for them.
Yep, each of those crates are 3 points each. Now, they do take some time to extinguish on the fire, so we'll see if anybody does try and make their way up to this one. But yeah, like you said, pretty good job to prioritize this attack helicopter, and we can already see this base from Punk. It's looking good. It's got some wood still on the side of it, but hopefully they can get that built on up. Hopefully their builder can get going, and especially with seven mans, with smaller teams, sometimes it is harder to get those bases built on up. But seven mans, you can really distribute your players out everywhere, and you can really have your builder getting to work.
Yeah, I mean, the more players you have, the more different variety of strategies you can use as well in the raid phases. You can have teams split up into two raids, try third party other raids simultaneously as well. So it's going to be an interesting take on how these more experienced teams decide to go on against the comparatively newer ones. And Punk, it seems like they've gathered as much resources as they possibly could have. They are sort of on the edge, just like we saw Mob doing, and they are upgrading their base still. So it seems like they spend most of their gaze phase just for the sake of looting.
Yeah, it really does seem that way. And like you said, they do seem to have a lot of resources repairing those walls and building them on up very, very quickly and getting them set up for the attacking phase. But like you pointed out, an interesting position for them to be on the outer side of the map. And usually, that is a little bit lesser of a position you would want, but we'll see what Punk can do with it. Maybe if they can get some transitioning tools, a helicopter or a car, they can get themselves over to where these bases of clumps are and maybe get themselves some damage. But talking about damage, already some kills being traded here in these, large bases. There are going to be players wandering through the desert, and eventually, you are going to run into some enemy players.
Team Leica, they've already lost most of their players. Only one person surviving. He's taken a bit of damage as well, but He too shouldn't survive for long. It seems like there are three teams fighting each other right now, but they only have one player remaining as well. And now that the other guy has fallen, but okay, the player is retreating. He's gotten to the jeep. He wants none of this. Going to play this one rather safe and not just steal that 1 point away from YCO.
Yep. Looking like they are going to back off for now. But it's like you said, a couple teams going to be fighting towards each other. Punk is now getting involved. They try and block off, once again, that attack helicopter dropping near them. You have to be careful that no one walks in and steal that one. But, they're getting good shots on towards any team that wants to take space. And that's really what, this time is for, is taking space against your opponent and getting these temporary walls down, which will last 10 minutes and giving yourself some space so you aren't running just through the open field every time you want to attack another base.
True, Punk down. It seems like they're pretty much done with their base now that most of their players are actually starting to come ahead and fight this sort of third party, the battle that was already going on in the desert. But it seems like this fight is sort of done and dusted as well. But they're moving back, and Uncle Joe leading the charge here. And there's a player on the far right for QCYO. That's Link. I think he might want to set up a flank, try and get a couple of kills with ease here. But the players up front, they're doing the damage itself. Another player for Alt falls. The rest two should follow soon.
Yep, QCYO looking to get some of those kills picked up, and we can see this hiding behind the car, trying to play all angles that they can to try and, like you said, a nice flank kill would be pretty beautiful. But guys, does have a player on his side. Some nice shots off towards the right side will be good. And the players have all kind of stranded out here in this desert. No real cover to work with, just a few trees. Some shots going to be traded back, though, and it looks like, the player on the car going to have to place some walls and get all repaired on up because the player on the hill doing some damage.
Yeah, and it looks like he's the last one surviving except Uncle Joe. But Uncle Joe, he's in a world of trouble right now. He has to take care of multiple angles, but there's some backup arriving as well. Link is in danger, currently surviving with 30 HP, but not for long as Uncle Joe pushes up, takes a risky attack, but ends up getting traded eventually.
Yep, does get traded out there and, still fighting off here. QCYO taking some shots towards this alt team and, just bunkering up, making sure they can delay the time to see if they can get those reinforcements from their team to walk on out. But right
That's
now,
a That's a really ballsy sleeping bag placement right there, right in the middle of the battlefield. He just respawned there and went back to his own dead body to loot the weapon again.
yeah, I mean, that is that is one place some people may not like to sleep as much, but like you said, a risky sleeping bag does pay off there. And right now, it does look like Alt is running a little bit away from that Punk side. Punk having the opportunity to claim those crates, hopefully, and jump themselves up onto the leaderboard. Have done a really good job of it so far to get themselves some points, sitting at 18. But Google is sitting at the top of the leaderboard right now with about a third of our attacking phase expired, and they've done a good job to just stay aggressive, pick up some kills, and keep themselves at the top of the leaderboard for right now.
Yeah, so far so good. Someone's going on 10 kill streak as well. So everyone, they're trying to get as many kills as you possibly can. That's sort of the whole gist of the attack phase. But we have to remind you, of course, the attack phase doesn't matter as much. Of course, it can put you in a good spot if you can get 100 points, which is extremely hard to do. But I've seen it well, but extremely hard to do. But unless you do that, the attack phase doesn't really matter much because a couple of raids is all it takes for the tables to get turned, and it can happen extremely quickly because usually chances are there are a lot of bases that are going to fall the raid phase begins because the experienced team, they like to exploit the newer players. They like to exploit the gaps that they leave in their own in their opposing walls.
Yep, exactly. Those experienced teams definitely know when to strike. And like you were saying, the attack phase, it doesn't matter as much, but it is nice to have those extra points in your back pocket. But, 40 points from a TC can jump you definitely up very high on the leaderboard, especially if you already built yourself that lead in the attacking phase. And just a reminder, the team that ends at the top of the attacking phase, will get an extra 10 points. So although it may not be much, it is something to give yourself just a little bit of a lead, a little bit of breathing room. But anything can change once we get towards that rating phase.
Uh, Google still keeping up that pace of kills, currently sitting at 33, a 9 point lead against the team that follows them. But oh, chaos. They're quite literally sitting in chaos right now, as it seems like they're being pushed by two players, and they don't have exterior walls properly built either. So this is not looking great for them. Nurik and Google, both teams looking pretty decent so far in the attack phase, are trying to make chaos the first ones to go down. Just as I was saying earlier on, they are trying to exploit this space as well and trying to gain control of it completely. So as soon as the raid phase begins, they have a free TC.
Yeah, it really does feel that way. We can see this experience coming in once again. Just, if you can delay the enemies from even getting their outer walls up, getting everything built up, they are just trapped inside their base. They cannot go out and get more resources. They have two teams on their side, and you could pretty much just farm kills like we're seeing Google do. And that's why they have such a big lead here, is experience coming in clutch. Now, we'll see if they can continue this chaos. Obviously, they have those quick spawns, so they are able to grab those bodies, whereas the other teams will have to walk a little bit further. But the interior of their base actually looks pretty good. They have some turrets and some other things built on up, but those exterior walls, like you said, are just not there.
Yeah, and I mean, although their base from within looks pretty good, as long as you don't have your exterior walls, that's going to make things a lot more easier for the opposing side. They can just push in without having to waste too many resources trying to get through the exterior walls. They can just plummet a few rockets into your main building and just get in.
Yep, they can really easily just walk on in, but Mob will be taking down that second patrol helicopter. And both edge teams now that were on that outer side of the map will be pretty much getting themselves a free patrol helicopter. So Mob doing a good job of prioritizing that and making sure that they can get those extra points, because like we talked about, they are on the edge of the map here. So most likely no one going to walk up to contest it, but they really need these points.
Yeah, and chances are they're not going to get raided at all. I mean, maybe towards the end game when there aren't many bases left to raid, sure, someone might approach them with a helicopter or something. But if you look at the map, the whole left side of the map is pretty much clear. There's no other team there except Mob. So this is going to be a rather safer play for them, which I think is actually pretty smart. But they're gonna have to be careful so that they don't get backdoored at some point.
Yeah, they have to be safe, and I'd like to see what they do prioritize. If they can maybe get, those transportation tools can definitely help. Like you said, though, every other team along that right side or bottom side of the map. So it's going to be a long journey to, go and raid one of those bases. But, with no teams being around, they're not really going to get PvP points. So they need points from somewhere, or like you said, they're just going to, sit at the bottom of the leaderboard until that end where someone decides they want to raid them.
Yeah, mob's not even on the scoreboard, so this is going to be actually pretty good for them that they get the attack helicopters. So that's at least something that they have in their bank to work with heading into the raid phase. And I'm surprised that nobody from the side of mob is actually not going out to try and take some PvP battles either. They're just all sitting in their base, and it seems like they're done constructing it as well, so they don't technically have an excuse to sit either.
Yep. They do not really have an excuse to sit on in there, but we will see what they decide to do as we hop on over towards VG, another one of our, well-known teams here in Rustoria Base Invaders experience. You can see it once again, this base already built on up, a beautiful one at that. A lot of angles, a lot of nice built up metal walls for them. And they're just venturing out, like we said, getting those PvP kills and maybe trying to extend and gain some space on towards other teams is very important in this stage.
Yeah. Oh, Google, it seems like they found some new targets, and it's going to be even an easier one than Chaos. No exterior walls here either. It seems like they've already found their way in because I can see some dead bodies here. So ND, they're in a world of trouble because Google, they now know where they can approach the building from. But oh, and it seems like they've defended at least for the time being. But Google, they're still close by, trying to deal some damage. One player taken out from afar. That's two.
Yeah.
Okay, Google. They're doing some good amount of damage, but they need to still get closer and gain some control of the building.
Yeah, beautiful shots though to take down two of those roof beakers. And this team, like you said, is just trying to get their base built back up and trying to get repaired. But Google is just being an absolute thorn in their side. Once again, going towards the roof, getting another kill, and they're gonna close the garage door. But that's just going to delay their base making even further. And Google doing a great job of prioritizing these bases that are not fully built to prioritize getting these kill points.
Yulenk, the guy who he's the one who was on the 10 kill streak earlier on, going massive. Out of 42, he's the one who has more than 10 kills, so 10 points for his team, single-handedly. So it's going to be an interesting one. And it seems like they have gained control of the rooftop, so this is starting to get a lot more dangerous for ND as more and more players of Google start to approach and get in. Uchiha, he manages to take one out, but that's all she wrote for him.
Yeah, exactly. These players on the roof are being a problem. Their base is not being able to be finished. Those outer compound walls are just not there. And now you've given Google some roof cover to protect them from the other members of VG who are shooting towards them. So really not a good scenario here for ND in this building. They just have to bunker up and hope in 13 minutes that they can hold this defense down.
Yeah, but VG, they're getting close by as well, and that means trouble for Google as at the same time because now they're at the risk of losing the TC that they had initially worked a lot to gain control of. Since there are still 30 minutes, VG they still have a good portion of time to try and push Google away from this and take control themselves, and their base is, I believe, closer compared to where Google's is. And Google, I don't, it doesn't seem like they have their beds prepared. I might be wrong about that. So if VG are able to clear them out, they're likely going to have a better hold at this.
Right. Yeah, VG wanting to come in and try and third party that, try and take off those players off of the roof
Oh,
and make sure that they can do so. But Google, yeah, once again, just getting very much involved all around the map, doing a good job holding down first place as we approach 12 minutes here in our attacking phase. And like you said, VG trying to push forward and trying to, take all of their progress and swoop around and hit a nice flank.
well, VG slowly closing the gap. They've taken one player of Google away, but the one who knocks is still standing. Spam space in the background, falls to his knees. Still not completely dead, but should be in a matter of time.
Yep, the Google players getting ambushed from their backside here and just having to play some angles here. See if they can defend it, as just a few wooden walls is what stands between this one Google player, the one who knocks, and two of these VG players who have really nice angles. And now they're gonna like push on forward, try and clear out this player. And you can see they have nice angles. ND helps to secure that kill. Now Google is just going to have those players on the roof. They have that, slight raid base there with all those beds, but with VG flanking around, there's a possibility that they lose all of those beds. All of a sudden, their attack is halted.
Yep. Indeed, taking complete advantage of the situation that VG presented them with. They took total control of the opportunity and hence have cleared the base out. Now, VG and Google both are farther away from ND's base, at least for the time being. But it seems like VG, they're not going to stay away for long. And Google, we saw that they have their beds ready as well, but I believe VG have actually taken them out. So VG are sort of in the clear. So now it's a direct fight between them and ND.
Yep, they are going to be having a direct fight, like you were saying, and VG doing a great job of hitting that flank there to make sure that Google is eliminated from the problem here. But now a fight here between ND. One of the players going to fall this out of ND. VG walks in and gets a double there. Absolutely beautiful. Also taking roof control. Doing a great job of this counterattack, doing a good job of this flank, and VG putting some hurt on towards our top team right now of Google. With under 10 minutes left now, that third patrol helicopter is inbound.
Well, VG seems like they're controlling this with no trouble whatsoever, or at least for the time being. Google once again gonna potentially have their final shot at this before the raid phase begins. So it's going to be interesting if they can regain control, but the likelihood of that is not a lot. ND though, reclaiming control as the only player of VG that is at the roof has been taken out.
Now Google is coming back with a vengeance. Looks like they are looking to hit a massive flank here, and one player of VG is the only real person who is looking, so Spam has to be careful here. Going to take a few bullets there, taken down to just 48 health, but I mean, VG getting hit by 4 players over the hill. It is not a good scenario to be in, and Google says, you hit us with a flank, we will hit you with a flank, and they are looking to do it. A Bob M6A2 on a 15 kill streak, though. That is really good for the second place team.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. But again, these individual performances, they are really going to help these teams in their raids, especially. They're gonna depend on those raiders to find the openings for their teams to get as many kills as they possibly can and put them closer to the DCs. But now, the final attack helicopter is moving in for the attack phase. We saw one getting taken, I believe, by Mob. The other one was taken away by Punk. Both of these teams were quite far from the rest of the competition. But the third one, it seems like it's headed straight into like 5 teams.
This one will be definitely contested wherever it does fall. A lot of damage taken onto it already, and everyone really looking up towards it and prioritizing this helicopter because, again, that's 15 points, although it doesn't, like we said, attack phase, it matters, doesn't matter as much as that raiding phase, but, it does matter. Those 15 points can make a difference when it comes down to it, so getting any points for your team early on is huge. So the attack helicopter will be taken down. QCYO will get the last shot on that one. But like you said, this helicopter landed in the middle of like 5 teams.
Oh, wow, this looks terrible. I mean, we have seen worse. Honestly, Andy's base is relatively worse than this, but looks like a proper skull from afar. Although they haven't lost control of it, and they do have quite a lot of players lurking about, but they've won their PvP fight so far, so that's something positive to look at if you're NN.
Yeah, they got to be careful because Iron Man Tony Stark is sitting right under their base, ready to do some damage. But Iron Man will
Ah,
be
never mind.
eliminated.
They have Mario as well, so Mario overpowers Iron Man any day.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like you said, they still have control, which is the most important thing, where as long as you have control of your base, you can still help defend it. So that's what they're going to have to do, most likely, like you said, going to be a target. But the target right now for these teams is this helicopter once again. Each of these crates worth 3 points, but they do take some time for those fires to expire. So, it gives time for these teams to set up on positioning. ULT will be the team that is going to be looking toward it along with QCYO.
Well, final 6 minutes in the attack phase. We've seen some potential bases that could go down in the first minute or so of the raid phase, but still no proper control of them, surprisingly. Kebab and Google doing relatively good, followed by Klumenko, and who are sitting at 49 right now. A decent score for the attack phase, considering we still have about 5 more minutes, so they could easily put up about 10 points on there. So not too shabby, but they have been in this war zone for quite a long while.
Yeah.
Currently sitting at 14, although they have invested quite a lot of players into this fight alone, ended up losing 2 players to this player of QCYO. Lennox just holding his line, and he's doing so very well.
Lennox doing a good job here to just, make sure they hold that flank angle, make sure they can get some damage down, but popping some heals as the alt team is going to push him, but waiting for it is Lennox. Trades out one, the flanker was waiting for that. Uncle Joe gets that trade kill on towards that QCYO member. Irish earning. Still on the top of this hill. They're going to be holding down, looking for some angles here. Once again, though, Google leading at 63 points. Again, as a reminder, the team that is leading at the end of these 4 minutes in the attacking phase will gain those extra 10 points. But the leaderboard is very, very tight right now. So, again, we expect those raids to be the most important thing. Those 40 points really can make a difference. But QCYO going to bunker up here as the alt members try and clear them all out. It is one player QCYO against the world, and the world will win.
The world will win indeed. Well, they have the potential to tie things up here, but they're gonna have to rely on Google not scoring any points for a little while the attack phase comes to a conclusion. They still have to wait for the fire to go out before they can collect those crates. But Google, they're not stopping. One more point up the board for them.
No, they are not stopping for sure. Chaos Joey on an 8 kill streak. Good to see them getting some kills back. We saw Chaos in a little bit of trouble earlier on, so hopefully they can recover and stabilize. But QCYO back towards their base will send a few players on out, but they invested a lot into that first fight. Getting a nice long-range kill is Lennox once again. Sniper Killer is going to get sniped themselves as all it looks like maybe QCYO might be the first target for them when this, 2.5 minutes does expire. That protection barrier of rockets goes down from the base.
Well, final 2 minutes of the attack phase. This is pretty much what the scoreboard is going to look like. But Alt, they have closed down the gap courtesy of the patrol helicopter points that they've gotten. Just a 3 point deficit between them and Google. And they can take the lead here. They do have quite a lot of players in front of them of QCYO, although it doesn't seem like they're winning most of their fights.
No, it doesn't. And, they get those attack helicopter points. They jump themselves into second. But like you said, Google just consistent with getting those attack points and keeping
Mhm.
themselves in that first place spot. And that's a good spot to be at the end of this attack phase. But the leaderboard's still very, very tight. I mean, we have 6 teams at or over 50 points. And one of those being Nurik, one of those teams that you pointed out that is always seems to be up there, one of those experienced teams. We'll see how they fare today as, this attack phase does start to expire and these raids become available for all these teams.
Well. Oh, there's a gap, it seems. Is there? It doesn't seem like he's moving in just yet at the very least, so... Oh,
Oh,
there you go. The ladder
nice.
placement was perfect. Parkour
Yeah.
moment.
Hardcore moment indeed. Beautiful. And now sneaking on into the base with just 1 minute left here into the attack phase. It looks like Google is going to secure those extra 10 points. But as soon as that minute timer goes down, all heck is going to break loose around the map. And we're definitely, like you said, going to have some early raids here as these experienced teams look to take out their first target. Alt, though, they lose a player on that rotate, it looks like, and it is going to be this base of, I believe, NN who is going to be defending. Actually, alt base, I believe. Oh,
What? Huh? Yeah, does he have... Okay, he does have explosives, so he can get out of there. At least. So that shouldn't be a problem, but he's gonna need more of that to get out of there safely. But never mind. Clearfall got the kill, jumps down, and now he's stuck in there as well. And I don't think the pair of Alt had actually any explosives, so now he's gonna have to try and figure his way out.
Right, gotta figure your way out of that one to get back inside the base. But with this attack phase over, we are now in this raiding phase. A reminder, 40 points for taking out the TC. And if you take out a TC, it does eliminate the team from the game. But Google keeping up with those points. They get the 10 extra. Kebab still up there very high on the leaderboard with 75. You also do get some points for defending a raid successfully, but definitely do not want to be on the defense as much, but you can see just how much of a war zone this area is with how many teams there are. There are so many teams prioritizing this in a 1v1 fight, going not towards the way of the team that is defending. So going to want to get up and reset as all these walls in the field really just block cover and make sure that these teams cannot get any angles on them.
Yeah. I mean, the base is weak. That's okay. You can survive it for a little longer usually. But having a base that looks like such a skull and bare bones in such a densely populated area is extremely dangerous. And this is exactly what happens when you play when your placement is like so. Currently, they have about 3 teams rocketing them, and it's not going to get any better from this if anybody else from afar decides to hop in onto this battle as well.
Yeah, the rockets are raining down from above. You see a little bit of high quality all around, which is good to have. But like you said, kind of a bare bones base, and all of these experienced teams really flocking towards it, recognizing it as Tony Stark once again on this outside here in the fight. Take one bullet of damage and back on out as regrouping with the team. Nurik on an 8 kill streak. So fights all around. Those red circles mean there is a raid or a previous raid going on. It is once again this raid we saw earlier from ND. They're going to be facing off against Google, who had, prioritized this base early on. VG also had eyes on it. So we'll see if either of these teams can, get inside and take that TC.
Ooh. BH, their base is quite literally on fire from at the top here. Oof. Nurik, they found it, like, they've made their way to the top, and there are gaps that they can get in from as well. But the
Yep.
roof seems sort of clear right now. They're taking their time with this as the rockets from afar are gonna help them clear out some areas without having to actually go through them.
Yep, hoping to clear out all of those areas, and Nurik being one of those experienced teams trying to strike first here. Those rockets are placed very, very nicely to try and delete the cover that this team has on the inside. And Nurik, they are already on the inside here, trying to aim towards some of those garage doors, see if maybe they can get deeper in towards the base. But with those outer compound walls broken, a really easy access point for them, and those rockets have really destroyed a lot so far. So see what they can do with it. They have a few players' bodies on the ground here. But, Chaos is also in the mix here, trying to stop this raid.
Ooh, that's a cheeky little gap to throw a rocket from. I'm not sure if it connected onto anybody, but it is pretty smart. Oh. Chaos currently closing the gap themselves, while the players of Nurik continue their raid. On the other hand, ooh, that was a close one, but there's only so much you can do against 3 of those players. Chaos now, they're making their way to the top as well.
Yeah, if you're Nurik here, you gotta be careful, dude. You want to make sure that you're investing all these resources that you do get that TC, but no TC found just yet. Chaos, like you said, they're gonna try closing on into this one. There are some extra doors here on this outside. It is that advent calendar type base where there are a lot of doors. The TC could be behind any of them. But with strategic planning, you can kind of suss out where that TC is. You don't want to put the TC on the same side as where another team might be, but it could be in any one of these doors.
Oof. So, and then the team that had the bare bone structure is the first one to go out, kind of proving the point here. But if you are one of the newer teams, it's probably best that you stay away from in the populated areas. Otherwise, this is what's going to happen. The first team to get eliminated today with
Yeah.
49 points. Commendable for someone who didn't stand for long after the attack phase. But of course, it could have been better.
It could have been better, but obviously it's all about, learning those experienced teams. They're experienced for a reason for sure, and really recognize those bases. So got to appreciate that team for coming out today, still trying their hardest to make a base. Obviously, can learn from today and take what they can into other week's events. But they will be watching from the spectator screen, and we'll see what else can happen here as we go over towards the base we were just on. Nurik is going to be raiding once again, putting some good shots down and trading members on inside of this base. There's going to be hiding in the corner, doing a good job trading out once again, getting 2 players. Nurik, beautiful job.
Beautiful job indeed. Chaos, they've had players that have really popped off in the attack phase, but can they do so again? That's the real question right now. This is the move where they need to do the most. Get the DC, make sure their resources. The same deal with Nurik, that they need to convert their resources into a DC. They need those points. And even if they don't get the DC, you need to still get out with a decent amount of PvP points at the very least, so that your time doesn't exactly go to waste, and the gap that you have between the top team and yourself, of course, doesn't remain too big.
Right, exactly. You do not want that gap to grow at all, so you need to get things from your raid. You either need, like you said, to get a lot of those PvP points. The TC would be the best thing to get yourself those 40, or even, attacking their resources and making sure you can walk away with some more boom. Because if you just invest all of your time and resources into a base that results in nothing, like you said, that gap is just going to widen with those top teams.
Yeah. So far, so good. Speaking of the defending, but Nurik and Chaos going head to head, it's kind of hectic to watch. They're trading kills constantly here. It's not like one team is overpowering the other massively. It's just a back and forth going on between these teams, and BH is just sort of getting rolled in the mix here at this point.
Yeah, it really does seem that way. That there is a lot of trading going back and forth. It really is that push and pull to make sure that both teams, the team that obviously owns the base has those respawns very close, but as their base starts to chip down, as they start to lose more cover, it is easier for those outside teams, just take a look at respawning and try and getting back in towards them. But like you said, it's been a back and forth between these couple teams. No TC taken just yet. 10 minutes gone in the raid phase, so a lot of time already invested into this one. But it's also the base is in a little bit of trouble right now. Those rockets have destroyed a decent bit of those bottom floor doors and have also opened up some of the shooting.
Yeah, considering the amount of resources and time that both of these teams have at this point invested, the deal is pretty much done and dusted for BH. They're bound to go down at this point because neither Nurik nor Chaos are going to back off of this at this point.
Yeah, their team wanting to back off, but not going to give up the defense, making sure that, you put your best foot forward and making sure that you don't give up so easily. We have seen crazier defenses before if your TC is placed in a good spot. So see how crazy the defense can be. These rockets just laying down here towards this base. And it is, like you said, not fun when multiple teams are raiding you, but what you've got to have to try and defend.
Nurik, their base is close by as well, so they're gonna take their sweet time with this. Chances are, if anyone backs off, it is going to be Chaos, and they're really close by as well. So I'm not sure what exactly is gonna go down. If you're BH, you're just hoping that these teams get exhausted, as you said, by a cheeky spot for the DC where they just aren't able to find it. But one thing that I would like to mention is that so far we're 10 minutes into the raid phase. Usually what we see is that 4 or 5 DCs are most of the times just gone in like the blink of an eye as soon as the raid phase begins. This is probably the least amount of DCs that I've commentated over gone in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, Yeah, it's been very slow, and it's a lot of experienced teams here. It's also 7-man, so you got to think about that there are a lot more players to defend these bases. That's not just, if it is 3 players, you can get overwhelmed very, very easily. You have 7 of these players that are all really, really good. So, falling off the edge there, maybe not the most experienced, but we'll see what they can do with this defense. Google trying to do some damage here. They try and it looks like maybe get on into this base, which is, really well designed, it seems like. But any base that is well designed can be, taken down very easily if you're not careful.
Well, the rockets trying to pour down. Gugu still no. Actually, never mind. Wait. So Russia is actually in the base already, blowing up doors. Nobody around to defend it. Like, there's literally no PvP battles from the side of ND going down directly in the base. They do
Right.
have some presence outside, but they're not trying to hold off the explosives.
Yeah, they have presence outside, but they're not Santa Claus, so they need to get inside and help defend this base because
Never
Google
mind.
is already there to take that TC. ND is eliminated. A beautiful job by them to just go through, take out all of these doors, and Google, the team that was leading in our attacking phase, has gotten a lot of PvP points in this raid phase. With that TC, will jump out almost to a 40-point lead.
Well, Google off to a really strong start here. Currently at exactly a 40-point lead, as you said, but they're probably gonna run away with some extra PvP points at the same time. And one thing that I was actually wondering earlier on as well was, are ND and NN related? Like, I mean, the names are pretty similar.
It is a good
Both of
question.
Yeah, both of them only have 2 letters in the name, 1 letter difference. Makes you think.
It does. It does make me think. I don't have anything else to think about, but so I'm thinking about that. But into this raid phase, 13 minutes in already. Google doing a good job. Also, Menko is doing a good job also to get those points. TC's taken by both of them respectively, but with this raid going on, continue shaking up on the leaderboard as PV points keep getting traded back and forth. And looks like Rocket's already in this base. They're already in the low side too of it, so a danger to the team that owns this base if you don't get to defend in here real soon.
Kebab, they're deep within right now. No resilience from the other side so far.
No resistance, and these garage doors hopefully going to be blown open and try and give them access towards this bottom floor. And some of these doors not closed. I'd like to point that out that when they left their base, left some of them open. So we'll see what they can do, as it looks like they do start to send some members back to try and defend. But Kebab doing a good job so far to hold them out and make sure that their Rocketeer safely get towards their business. It does take some time, to swap between rocket and gun, so you do have to be careful. You don't want to get caught out with that rocket in your hands, but going up the ladder is where Kebab is going to get caught this time.
Well, 15 minutes in. And QCYO, now they're the ones in trouble. They've had quite a lot of success against in the PvP fights that they had taken against Alt and Lika, but right now those are the teams that are trying to punish them as well for it. The explosives pouring down, getting pushed by 2 teams. This is not looking very good for them.
It is not looking good. The Rockets rain down above it as they destroy a wall. They're a little hole in their wall now. As 15 minutes gone in the raiding phase, as teams start to try and find their target. But like you're saying, a little bit of trouble that they are in now. A hole in the side of their base. Got to be careful and get some players out to defend it, because this is a very fast-paced game. If you blink for just a second, your base can be gone.
Pretty much the story of the whole tournament here. Can't afford to make too many mistakes. You have a
No.
good base. Oh wait, Lika, they're pouring rockets from afar. They have some players close by to the base as well, but it seems like they're getting dealt with, at least for the time being. Alt though, they're the main threat for QCYO, and Lika, they're just putting a cherry on top here, sort of helping out Alt, but BH have been eliminated by Nurek, so that's the third team taken away, and Nurek closed the gap by less than 20 points now.
Yeah, that is lovely for them to have that TC jumping them up towards that second place spot. And that is going to feel really, really good. But like you said, this team inside the base, QCYO, is struggling to defend. As some of these alt players are on top of the roof already, they control a majority of their base. And like you said, rockets raining down from all directions. It is just not a good place to be in for QCYO.
Well, Alt total control of the rooftop. And oh, good call. The traders have been eliminated by Klemenko. And that changes up things by a little margin, but it definitely does. Now Google sitting at the second place. It seems like the top three is going to get extremely spicy towards the end, because all three of these teams have remained extremely active, even in the attack phase. It was pretty close among the three. Gumab included. Gumab, they haven't dealt too much damage in the raid phase so far. If they can catch up, maybe the top four can get spicy as well, but it's definitely going to be a show between the top three.
It really does seem that way. These top three teams right now putting their best foot forward, and Klemenko especially getting a double TC for them so far in this raid phase to catch themselves up to that very dominant Google team who was ahead in that attacking phase. But yeah, right now they lead by a pretty much whole TC margin for any other team, maybe even two if you go under 7th place. So it is a pretty wide stretch to get up towards. Another team is going to have to prioritize getting those points. And one of those teams, QCYO right now just trapped in their own base as Alt, placing down some rockets, placing down some C4, and they try and take out this QCYO team.
Well, they've held on, at least for the time being. They're getting kills as well, but considering the damage done to the infrastructure, I'm not sure how long KCYO can hold on, because Lika, they're in, ULT, they're in as well. So it feels like it's only a matter of time before their TC falls as well, and they join the rest of the dead four.
Yeah, it really does seem that way, that it is just a matter of time with all of these rockets raining down towards them. The question is, what can they do to stop it? They're definitely not going to go down without a fight, but with so many teams raiding towards you, it is so hard to just mount a defense against that many teams, especially with 7-mans. Those numbers can really stack up. 7, 14, 21 players all raiding you is not something that's going to be fun.
Yeah, it gets extremely chaotic, and that chaos can sometimes help you out, but you're sort of hoping that both of the teams that are raiding you, they just end up killing each other more than they fight you. But right now it's not happening. Lika and Chaos, they are fighting each other from on the flanks, but most of the damage is being dealt towards the infrastructure right now as the explosives continue to go off.
Yeah, the explosives continue to go off here in this raiding phase. And like you said, you want those teams to fight each other and not destroy your infrastructure, but it is looking that way as Lika, they now look to try and take down this base. Some C4s here in the bottom side to destroy some of those garage doors to see if maybe they can find a sneaky TC on the bottom floor.
Chances are they might, because ULT, they had taken their sweet time on the floors above, but they haven't, of course, went through them thoroughly, so the TC can still be there, but right now, QCYO, they're even getting spawn trapped at this point. As soon as the players spawn, they end up dying again, and that's going to add to the respawn delay. Oh, wait, mob are getting raided? I don't see anyone around, so they might have defended it already.
Defended. Yeah, possibility of them defending that base, but yeah, like you said, this base in very much isolation, so they do get to defend it and do get to live for now, and their base did get built up enough, but other players were looking to raid towards them. Some sleeping bags, like are placed all around the outside, so we'll see if once again that they Punk, it
Ah.
looks like, was the team to raid them, and Punk was that other team, and it looks like they had made a very, very
Oh.
long rotation. And we have another team that is looking to get involved here. Mob is going to take some shots towards it, but I believe it is that Google team who is going to place up some walls. They're going to try and get a temporary base built up. They'll first place this crate to give them some storage, and now they're going to place some other things. Kebab, though, will be able to strike and finally eliminate Primicos here. They were raiding that base. Took them a little bit of time, but we'll focus on this Google raid as they can hopefully, push up these walls and get some beds going here.
Yeah, Google, they're actually pretty wise to take this fight, in my opinion, because this is, as we've spoken multiple times, that this is sort of an isolated base. There's nobody else close by, so the chances are that if any team wants to push this, they are gonna have to travel quite a lot. So Google, if if they invest into this a lot, they have a proper bed area ready as well, and they can just invest 20 minutes into this. They're not going to get third party, so the DC should be there confirmed, but of course they're gonna have to deal with mob's defense first.
Yep, Mob is going to be put on the defense, but for right now, Google going on the offense. Good rockets raining down for multiple different players. And a good job so far to get some damage down. Now, they will lose one of their players. Hopefully, they set up some beds, give a respawn, because it is a long walk to get over there. One of their players, spam control, is knocked down here, so they'll have to stick that res and make sure that they can get these players on back up, because Mob doing a good job on this defense so far. Although these rockets are definitely hitting, there are only a few sleeping bags, and it is a long walk back if you're Google. Mob has a flanker.
Oh, Mofu, he has some cover to work with. I'm not sure if he has a weapon though, but never mind, he doesn't have a life anymore. Mob, they're trying to push out. They're reinstating some walls as well. So looking good so far. Google, they're not being allowed to get closer any more than they have already.
Yep,
Mob,
they're being
why?
closed out now, but a swing here for Google will take out the first. Doing good as teamwork here to try and take down all these players. But Punk, they are now trying to get involved. Punk, you're going to be flying in an overhead helicopter here, and it is chaos out in this field, but it is just a massacre almost immediately. As Punk is going to lose one, they're going to take a lot of damage towards their other players, but now Google has to face towards two fronts. They have a team on towards their backside, and they have this mob team in the building, but they're going to be able to respawn and hopefully try and get a counter push against this Punk team.
I'm surprised Punk are the one that have decided to third party this, because they are the ones that were quite on the literal opposite edge of Mob's base. And they have decided to opt and to fight this, so it's going to be pretty exciting to see how this goes. Google, though, they're playing this one smart. They're keeping their bed area safe for the time being there and making sure Punk don't get close and totally eliminate Google out of the equation
Wow.
for now.
Google just went in and massacred Punk there. It looks like all of their players dead. So the counter push from Punk is immediately stomped and dusted by Google. And now they can push on forward. Now that this team is off of their backside, they can walk on once again towards this mob base. And mob, while that was going on, they got some repairs off. Now it is going to be pretty much that they have to face off against this force in Google that looks so strong.
Yeah, the one who knocks having to hide behind wood himself, but eventually will fall. Time control gets one. Gall taken down. Gall was standing on a rather impressive structure, and they're building some stuff to give themselves some unique angles, it seems, but So far, they aren't quite exactly working out for them as Google. They're starting to clean house from outside, and it's only a matter of time before they head in at this point.
Yep. Waydeck's gonna pop off with a 10 kill streak there for ult, but yeah, those rockets doing some damage towards this front wall, and taking down some of those shooting floor walls is good to make sure there isn't cover for this team to play off of. And as these rockets are strategically placed, they're going to start breaking down this front wall, seeing if maybe they can give themselves enough of a space to give themselves an entrance in towards it. But once again, Mob are trying to send players out to try and delay these rocketers, but it's just not working. Google knows their plan, it seems like, really knows that these players are walking out trying to take angles and immediately being able to shut those flanking players down.
Yeah. And the base from above, it's pretty open for Google to just look at here as well. DC not spotted yet. And Google, although they're not they have sort of explored quite a lot of area considering the base from up top again is pretty open. So the chances are they're not even going to try and push up towards the top, and they might as well just go from underneath and explore the bottom floors. But Mob, they have two players on the flank. They're going to try and set up a pinch against Google here.
Yep, a smart play, a good play here from Mob. We'll see how much damage these two players can do on this flank side, but Google look like they are just pushing in even further. So these two players got to be careful that, Google doesn't just walk in and take more space in their base because they know of these flanking players, but as these two will respawn, a beautiful job from Mob here, hopefully to destroy the beds of Google. Gonna place some extra walls and maybe camp them, maybe see if they can get some extra kills on the outtake here. But Google's just gonna walk in, so most likely on this last life for the Google players, as this one player, Mob, is just gonna be able to camp those beds, and the Google players are responding, but there is a player watching there for them.
Oof. So
Ow.
far, so good. Google doing a good amount of damage. They've held their beds in a safe location for quite a long while. They did so when Punk arrived. They have done so when Mob decided to backdoor that side as well. But now Google finally in. They have actually went on to hit the top side first, clear out the area with lesser doors, it seems. But
Yep.
once they're done, they are gonna probably go down.
Yeah, hopefully go down towards the bottom here. Spam space on an 8 kill streak there for the Google team. And as they look on forward now here, like you said, doing a good job defending their beds and making sure that the backside was cleared out for them, making sure they can continue this raid. And now continue it, they will do. Rockets sending out here on this shooting floor, trying to blow down in towards those lower areas. And Google is looking really, really strong in this raid right now.
Well, really is Mob. It seems like they don't have much presence up top to sort of get into PvP battles and clear out the area either. So Google just taking advantage of the fact that Mob are sort of busy trying to keep the base safe from underneath, but that's not even exactly where Google are headed so far.
Yeah. They are not headed there just yet. And Mob, they're going to try and hold down the rooftop, hold down their beds, and hold what space they have here. Because 30 minutes already gone in this raiding phase. Flamenco has done a
Oh
good
god.
job, but they find it out. The TC is there, and Google, after a long and arduous raid, they they will get that one. So beautifully done from them. Google going to retake their first place crown once again and sitting at 255 points. Already 30 minutes into the raid phase. A good spot to be, but they did invest a lot of time and resources into that base.
Yeah, they definitely did, but they are sitting at a 30-point lead over Flamenco, which honestly is not too shabby. Chances are Clemenco is going to take their sweet time getting back up there as well. So Google, they just need to head straight into a fight again, make sure their base is safe, firstly, of course, as well. But speaking of fights, Nurek, against Chaos once again. This battle has been going on for quite a long time. We've seen it all the way in the attack phase, now again in the raid phase. So,
Yep, seen it in both phases, back and forth, and it is a brick mansion that is going to be holed up here for this team on the top. They got some decent angles, and the base is looking strong so far, but Nurk is here. Nurk being that consistent team, going to get some of those kills, traded back and forth. A 1-for-1 will end up being what it's going to be. Chaos, though, putting down some good kills. And, we talk about Nurk being, one of those top teams every single week and sitting in third place right now. Definitely still in the competition as they look to raid this outside wall here and get some kills along with it.
well, Chaos, there's trying to distract Nurik here a bit by pushing a bit out. Oh, a good kill for Thompson. But Nurik, they're not stopping anytime soon. Chaos have denied any entries for Nurik into their base so far. How long can they hold on? And why has this game become a bit stealthy? Well, oh, never mind, not anymore.
Yeah,
I with a nice
the
flank.
stealth denied by bullets.
We're going in Rambo way.
Ouch. And the kills are good there for the side of Nurk, playing this maze towards their own knowledge and playing their angles very well. Chaos trying to clear out these players, swinging around the corner. Nurk finally going to lose their one player, but they're not done yet as Chaos, they're going to have to swing out. They're going to have to clear out these players. Nurk hopefully has some beds to try and get some of those kits back, get reset, and get back in the fight. They do not want to, again, waste a lot of their time and resources just to get nothing. So flying over towards another set of bases here is what it's going to be as we see a helicopter team looking for yet another raid here as they hear the noise over from the Nurk raid and they say, you know what, maybe we will join along with that.
Well, going to be an interesting approach rather, but you'll have to wait and find out how that pans out. Moving on. We do have a couple of raids going on here simultaneously. It's Clementco, the direct competitors to Google, going against Lupin EXE, it seems. And I believe they're both raiding each other's. The rockets being traded.
Right.
So
Yeah,
far,
just
it's.
roofing.
Yep. Clementco, they are close by, but no entry points just yet, of course. Both these teams are mostly just rocketing each other, and it seems like it's a decent amount of damage is being dealt on both ends. But
Yeah.
Lupin on the worst end of it.
Yeah, it's like a game of Battleship, except on the other side is just a fully fortified ship that takes 10 rockets to hit, and both teams know exactly where each other are. So both just laying down these rockets, seeing if they can create a bigger hole than the other, hopefully gain themselves, like you said, an access point towards one of those floors where they can easily access that TC.
Well, Clementco, they have made their way in, it seems. Cody, he's gotten in, and I'm not sure if Lupin are aware of his positioning, but now they are, as one player of Lupin goes down. Cody surviving on just 10 HP. Barely, but it's effective because now that Lupin are gonna get distracted by Cody, it allows the rest of the players to close the gap and push in.
Allows the rest of those players to close on in, and the intro is nice. They'll get a kill on the way in, and now trying to walk on in, opening some of those rockets to open up that shooting floor area a little bit more. Menko trying to get some more kills while they do it, and this base is once again one of those advent calendars where the base, the TC could be behind any of those walls. It's going to take a little bit of time to clear all of those out. So we'll jump on over towards another raid that is going on. Looks like that QCYO once again on the defense. We saw them on the defense a little bit earlier, But now it looks like, their base in a little bit more of shambles than we've seen. Some more rockets going down towards them, but they have no real outer compound wall, and there are 3 or 4 teams around here looking to raid them.
Oh yeah, it's there are doors open for anyone to just walk in as well, but it doesn't lead anywhere, so never mind that. But as you said, multiple teams here, trying to find their way in, but taking oh, team that we saw earlier on moving on the helicopter have actually turned around and now they're headed towards Punk, and Punk now in deep trouble because Google are on their way towards Punk's base as well. So this is going to put them in a world of misery as the beds are being set up as well for Google to respawn right here.
They have that raid base, and like we talked about, Punk is kind of isolated, so Google wanting revenge for Punk trying to get that, flanking play on them when they took that base of Mob earlier. So we'll see what they can do here as they start to set up. But on the other side, there's going to be 2 teams here. So like you said, Punk are in a world of trouble here. We can hopefully, maybe they can push on forward and get another. And we're talking, if they can get another, they can extend their lead. We talked about these top 3 teams. Very, very close in points. Alt has caught up a little bit. Kebab next closest. But other than that, Nurik, Clemenco, and Google have been these top 3 teams consistently in this game today. And right now, they are still holding down their lead. And Google, they're looking to add to.
Yeah. Google, if they manage to get this TC, their lead is going to be pretty great. And it's going to set them up in a pretty decent situation where they can just basically stand on their PvP points for the most part, unless Clemenco can actually do something crazy and make a comeback. But they are currently in the leads. It's only going to be a 40-point deficit, but so Google, they're gonna have to keep on the move, but it might call for a direct conflict between Clemenco and Google at that point, where one of the teams need to raid each other.
Right, exactly. And, it's like you mentioned, though, that, Clemenco did jump up towards first on the leaderboard because they hit a good raid defense. So a huge burst in points for them will jump them a little bit ahead of Google for the moment. But Google on this base, and you can see just how much damage is being done from the other side. It's really hard for Punk to defend all sides of this. And although this base really nicely layered, has a good design, may not stand the test of time against 2 teams that are looking for blood.
Well, Punk, they have surprisingly held on in their PvP battle so far. The roof battles are going their way, getting a decent amount of kills, but they're getting overwhelmed. They have too many. They have 14 people to deal with here, and that's not an easy amount. Google now finally making their way in. The rockets have basically cleared out half the base of Punk at this point.
Half the base of Punk looks like it is already gone and into dust here, but 50 minutes left about in this raiding phase. Time starting to dwindle down for these teams that do want to win here today. And like we said, Clemenco, Google, and Nurik creating a pretty big lead for themselves. Alt is also in the mix, but they will need a TC or 2 to get themselves on back in. But we'll see what Punk can do so far as their base taking a lot of damage. I mean, you can see right through it on the one side, all the way through the core. They've done a good job so far. And, we'll see if Google can maybe walk in third party and take it from them. But right now, it looks like Safass is going to be the team side and going to get first dibs on this base.
Yep. Well, 50 minutes to go in the raid phase. Still a lot of time to technically decide who is in the prime position, but it's definitely Google and Clemenco and potentially Nurik. They aren't too far away either, but QCYO The team that had been a nuisance for many
Wow.
in the attack phase get eliminated by Lika.
Yep, that is a beautiful job from Lika to give themselves a much needed TC because, they are very far behind so far in this game. They're up there on the leaderboard, but, they are 140, 150 points behind. That's 3 or 4 TCs that are going to be needed to catch on up. So a good job to eliminate the excuse me, 8 seed and get themselves some points. But see so far is once again Safas going to look to try and push through this side of the base. They've done a lot of damage, but it seems like so far they can't find a way inside. Punk has done a good job to keep them out other than a few players. So we will hop on over to another raid that is going on up in this top sector here, it looks like. And is a raid that's going to be another edge team that's going to be trying and defend here as a partial raid base going to be Nurik that is going to be looking to raid. It is Chaos's base who we've seen before, the maze of walls on the outside. But right now, in their current state of the base, they're missing a wall.
They're missing a lot more than one wall, I'd say. And the number is going to increase, the walls that get decreased. But Nurik, this fight has been going on for quite a while at this point, and still I'm surprised Nurik they don't have much presence within the base right now. But props to Chaos, they have held on pretty nicely. As we mentioned earlier, these teams have been going at it since the start of this tournament. But now that VG are getting involved, things could start to pan out a little differently.
Things start to get complicated once that third team does start to lock in and, you know, AC, sorry, excuse me, teleporting over here towards that Lika raid. Beautiful job from Lika to secure themselves some points, but yeah, Nurik needs really this base. I mean, we talked about how close they are on the leaderboard. They really cannot let, another team take it away. And like you said, VG looking to take that one away from them. You cannot let another team steal all your time and resources away, but another raid going on here. It looks like Kebab maybe the team that is going to be is actually Safas, who is going to be raiding the other base. So while they are not home, Kebab has just decided this is our home now.
Oh yeah, and now the beds are getting destroyed. They're Kebab spawn trapping Safas as well. So this is not looking good at all. Uh, oh, this is terrible. Kebab, nobody to defend the base. Kebab gets the perfect timing. Now they just have to ensure that they can find the TC as soon as they can. But on the other hand, Punk have been eliminated by Google.
Wow. Punk
That
eliminated
puts
by Google. Wow. Yeah, like you're about to say, Google has just jumped themselves up a large lead.
Yeah, 317 points. Memento. Now they're gonna have to strike back quickly because, from what we've seen so far, the success rate of Google has been extremely good from the raids that they've done so
Wow.
far. And oh my goodness, come on,
That
where?
was crazy fast.
Speaking of efficient
Man.
raids, wow, come on, they wasted no time for that one.
Yeah, and that just goes to show you cannot commit all of your players to one place because you will get counter rated. The base is gone. We teleport over towards Google, where I mean Google, they got gifted possibly, this victory here. They come in third party this base, able to get that TC out of the way. We talk about Safas, who was the team on the other side of this raid, immediately getting eliminated. Very, very clean raid, though, on the other side. And, as we talk about raids, we are running out of teams in this lobby. So, it is going to start to dwindle down.
Yep. Well, this raid again. Nurik, Chaos, VG were involved earlier, but they still don't have much presence. VG still fighting on the outskirts, going head to head against Nurik for the time being, and Nurik, of course, the one going out on top, as we saw earlier as well. VG, they're currently sitting at 55 points. They're struggling quite a lot in this tournament, and the struggles continue as another one of their players fall.
Another one of it's going to be rockets once again that rain down towards this mid-4 now. We are over the halfway point of this raid phase. 45 more minutes is what it will be for these teams. And as time starts to dwindle and as these bases start to dwindle, teams are going to get more and more desperate. Whitex on an 8-kill streak there for Vault, trying to regain some of those points, but there's not going to be a lot more points to be had. So you got to get these raids off quick. And if there is another raid going on, maybe try and, go steal away.
Well, I'm not sure why we were staring down the wall, but it's all good. The wall isn't there no more. We can look past it, finally. Chaos now. They have continuously held onto themselves in the battles, but they can't deny the rockets. The walls are being broken down. Nobody from Nurik or VG in the base just yet, so not the worst of situations.
Yep. The walls came tumbling down.
VG have actually eliminated Nurik here. They're still spawning though. They have their beds placed, but VG were almost close to destroying that. Sadly, they couldn't finish the job, but they still have presence, so they're
Right.
gonna have another shot at it.
Yep, they will get one more shot, and they really need this one because, Google extending their lead with that TC, doing a good job, but VG, their one player, popping off with a 10-kill streak, absolutely beautiful. These beds still available here from Uruk, but their cover is running out. VG trying to just clear them out, making sure they have a clean outer side of their base, but Uruk is going to send some players in close to try and do some damage. So, not a lot of bases left around this map. We can see all of them on the leaderboard. Right now, it really is just this base right here, Nurik trying to take down, but they've invested so much time in this base.
Yeah. And while they have invested so much time here, Google, Komenko, they have continued to grow their own lead, so they need to either give it up right here and waste no more time on this, or actually convert it and just go full send it and finally take the TC away, because otherwise they're gonna continue wasting their time, and
Right.
while they do so, the rest of their opponents are gonna get higher leads.
Yeah, that is very true. And, it does come down to with how little bases we do have. The question will come down to, will these teams start to fight each other? We might see a Google raid on Klemenko or, Nurik try and raid one of these other top teams. We're talking 7 or 8 teams are the only amount of bases left. So, through all of these, it's a possibility that we start seeing these top teams start to fight towards each other.
Well, we only have 9 teams left in the competition. 3 of them are on our screens right now. And somehow Chaos have managed to hold on for so long and still have nobody in their base.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty surprising, and props to them. But
Yeah,
moving
props
on,
to them.
Alt and Lika, the team that were initially raiding QCYO, now going up against each other, and Lika are on the defending side. So far, not so good. The Rockets have done quite a lot of damage already.
Yep. A lot of damage coming down here, especially towards their inner core. They're taking some rockets towards there already, and Lika, been consistent throughout today, trying to survive this one. But the Rockets are relentless in this sort of flower pattern. It's going to be Alt, who is the team or on this backside. Lika trying to clear them out, trying to clear out these beds, but Alt is relentless with this attack so far, destroying part of that inner core, giving themselves a route that if they wanted to ladder in, they could have full access to this base right now.
They definitely could have, but they're still continuing with the Rockets. They want to clear out as much area as they possibly can before they do decide to head in. It seems like they have a lot of resources in excess.
Yeah.
And they're putting them to good use. Can't really complain about it. And Flamenco, I'm not sure if they're getting closer to this or are they still raiding Lupin. But if they do decide to turn around, Lika are going to be in a world of misery. But they already are in one, as all they're making their way closer. The ladders being put to good use, and now they have a good amount of presence already in Lika's base.
Oh, a good amount of presence here. We'll see what they can do. But another raid going on as rockets flying towards each other once again. Klemenko, the bottom floor is all wide and open here. And well, there aren't a lot of doors in this base. So you have to imagine maybe that the TC could be inside this core.
Well, we're gonna have to wait and find out if it is. But this rocket raiding has been going on for quite a long while between these teams. I'm surprised the amount of damage. Okay, never mind. They are actually constructing walls again, but still, the damage isn't as much as you would anticipate considering the amount of time that both of these teams have put into rocketing each other.
Yeah, the time has been large that they have just been sending those rockets back and forth. Red circles all around the map, though, as it seems no base is safe from any single raid. But it looks like, a dead body here is going to be all that's left of a raid onto Google's base. So, like we said, those top teams are going to start to become a target here as time starts to go on and we run out of bases to, attack each other. Lika going to have to defend here. Ult is inside their base, very deep inside of it, actually. And the Rockets already trying to destroy part of this core, give them access to it, and they're doing a good job of just clearing it out so far.
They really are, and one thing's a bit surprising to me because looking at Google's base, it isn't anything too impressive. Like it's not bad looking either, but it's not something you'd say, okay, that is a really good base. Considering even Leaka's here, I mean, it looked like a proper, well-built structure from outside. Of course, how you built it from within is a completely different story. But looking at Google's outside, it does appeal a bit. Where I think looking at it, I would want to raid it, especially in this part of the raid phase. As you said, there aren't many bases left to raid, and it is certainly looking like one of the weaker bases.
Yeah, it actually does seem like a weak base, like you're mentioning, that although they are at the top of that leaderboard, could be a target if the time does come to that. But Lika now trying to clear out the remaining alt members as they keep jumping on in. Uncle Joe gets some kills back and forth, but Rocket's still raining down to this core, and Lika has not had time to repair.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they're gonna have time to repair at all because alt they are still close by. Although League have won quite a bit, few of their PvP battles, but they still have presence at the very least. And speaking of presence, Nurik, WG, they aren't leaving Chaos's base anytime soon, and neither are Chaos letting them in, which again is extremely surprising. Nurik have probably invested about 30 minutes into this base, and they still have absolutely no control of it.
Yep, unstoppable force meets immovable object here when this base is being raided. And like you said, that time is a huge detriment towards this Nurik team who has, like you said, spent 30 minutes on this base, and all they have to show for it is repaired walls on their side that they were raiding.
Yeah, even VG. Chaos currently defending against two teams. If they manage to hold both of these teams off, they probably go forth, beating Alt as well in terms of points. So that is going to be pretty impressive, but still, it is a bit surprising to me. They are going against 14 players technically, with VG getting fully involved as well, who haven't done too good a job, but finally it seems like they have managed to find a gap and are going to have an entry point to work with, as Chaos are sort of getting a bit more distracted towards Nurik's side here. So Weezy taking advantage of the opportunity provided, but Nurik found their way in. So finally Chaos, now they're gonna actually have to face some Chaos where they have to decide which team do they face off first, because Nurik and Weezy, they aren't exactly fighting each other at this point.
Yeah, they're not fighting each other, attacking from two different sides, and those repaired walls do not have as much health as the original, so, they're going to be easier to destroy, and if these teams are smart and have that communication, they could say, "We already attacked this part of the base. We know that the TC is not in there, so we can target other spots that we know that, it could possibly be in." So that is one thing you're going to have to communicate to your teammates of where you already raided, because you don't want to waste rockets on places that you've already rocketed.
Definitely don't want to, but Chaos, they might just be forcing them to at this point. Because other than rocketing, Norik have had no actual progress towards the space, and that too is quite low. There you go. Finally, some rockets being poured in. They have an entry again, and Lika get eliminated by ULT on the other hand, and that actually should put ULT above Nurik. So Nurik now facing the consequences of having wasted so much time into that one specific base where they have absolutely done nothing, pretty much.
Right, exactly, where they've kind of just faltered on that side, and hopefully they can, reset and recuperate here. But that base pretty well defended. Like you said, they're doing a good job of at least holding them off for now, but see what they can do. As this raid time, it's starting to expire. I mean, we're talking about a little bit over 30 minutes now for this team, and time is dwindling for all of them.
Yep, Google now headed towards Kebab's base. A decent amount of damage already done to the infrastructure, and more continues as the rockets pour in. Not many PvP fights going on, surprisingly. Kebab, they're taking their sweet time with this, but I'm not sure they're gonna have much of it left if they play this rather patiently.
Right. Patience not the way to go here, and talking about patience, 30 minutes left for these teams to get some successful raids off here. Vika falling out of the competition. VG lowest on the leaderboard right now, but still only, again, 8 teams left alive. The raiding targets are starting to dwindle as Kebab trying to defend the top of their base, and it is none other than our top team, Google, who's looking to extend their lead, currently a 40-point lead, but they want more.
That they definitely do. I mean, who doesn't exactly? But Google, as we said, earlier on, if they manage to get one more TC, which they did, they're going to be in a pretty great spot. And afterwards, they've kept their pace up really nicely with PvP points alone, currently sitting at 357, a 40-point lead over Clemenco. Oh, wait, okay,
Wow. Sneaky.
yeah, we're really seeing some crazy things today.
Yeah, crazy things on all sides here. Google, though, they are now on the inside of this base, and that is where they are the most dangerous. So they're going to try and do some damage here as these players on the bottom floor do try and take some of those advent calendar doors on out. But Evil Inc. going to be on the bottom floor here, taking down some walls. Hopefully taking some shots to Kebab, turning the corner for Evil to get a nice Evil shot on that one.
Well, we're gonna quickly move on back to our favorite raid at this point, kind of forcefully because we have had to watch it so many times.
Yeah, I have had to watch it, but I mean, it's also there's not a lot of bases left, so it's like, where else do we go?
Yeah, and it sort of is the most interesting one in here as well, because we see rockets constantly being pushed into these walls. The walls go down, but they get back built up, and there's nothing that Norik or VG, either of those teams, do to just deny it. Chaos, they have been pretty efficient with their repairs. They have been pretty good with their PvP battles, and it seems like VG and Norik combined are still not enough to take that down.
Yeah, exactly. Those two teams, not enough to take it all down. But now it is going to be the focus towards Lupin, who has been a little bit quiet today in the leaderboard. I mean, they've gotten themselves some points, but no real raids, it seems, from them, mostly defense, and now they're going to have to defend once again here, as it looks like Klumenko also not being quiet. Google also in a raid at this time, so all of these top teams trying to extend their lead or maybe catch up towards Google if you are in the Nurek or Alt
Oh,
boat.
well, this base is half balled. But okay, Lupin and Klemenko have been going at each other for quite a long while as well. Sort of this similar story of Chaos and Nurk, just not as much time, but now they do have a third party getting involved here in the face of ULT, it seems. So it's going to be an interesting one. ULT, unlike VG, are a team that have had decent success in their raids as well. So this is probably going to have much more of an impact than what we saw VG have on Chaos's base.
Yeah, and one player of Lupin makes the mistake of peeking out behind a tree and gets absolutely massacred by all of these members. But Alt is also in the area, so we'll see what they can do. They try and maybe steal away this base. And, we talked about Nurek slowing down on this leaderboard a little bit. That has opened up the door for this Alt team to maybe step in and take their place, because they could possibly walk in and take this base right from the hands here of Klemenko if they decide to get it. So, I mean, Alt really needs it. If they get a TC here, they could jump themselves up into a second place.
Well, we are sort of getting closer to the end of the tournament now. Google still sitting with a 40-point lead comfortably. Klemenko, they have to make sure that ULT don't walk away with this one, because it'll put them in a pretty terrible spot. They aren't going to have much time to move on to another raid, and even if they do, the lead of Google is still going to continue to grow, which might make it harder for Klemenko to overthrow them, because at that point they're going to need a lot more than just a TC.
Yeah, they're going to need more than just a TC, like you're saying. But, this is a very, good raid for both sides that they need. Like you're mentioning, Klumenko cannot give this one up. We're talking about if they get the raid, oh, the TC, it's there, and it's beautiful for the side of Klumenko. Lupin will be eliminated, and that raid is absolutely massive for Klumenko. They are going to jump up to first place, exactly tied with this Google team.
Yep, now Klemenko back in the horse race, right up front with Google, while Nurek and ULT, although very close to each other, are quite far behind from the top of the competition. Google, though, already sort of on a head start in terms of raiding, because they are already sort of invested into this raid. They have made some progress in terms of destroying the walls. Klemenko, although they're gonna need some time to set themselves up for another raid, so Google still at an advantageous position. They have one more point at now to work with, and now they're starting to gain control of some of the base.
Yep, they are gaining control here. Seeing what they can do here on the outside. But, it's like you said that a little bit of a gap has been built between Klemenko and Nurk. Nurk and Alt a little bit, 80 points almost behind those other teams. And it really has been Nurk. They were up there. They were within 10 points of Google and Klemenko. This raid has just been not successful for them. Chaos been able to defend, and Alt, they were really far behind, able to catch themselves up, but Klemenko able to take that raid away from them. And it's going to be a horse race here, it seems, between Google and Klemenko. When it comes down to that time, when 25 minutes left, you do have to question if one of these teams wants to try and take out the other.
Only 25 minutes to go before we have the conclusion of the game, but we are still quite far from it. This is going to get a lot more interesting in at this moment, because right now, if you're Klemenko, you're probably thinking about raiding Google directly. Just take out the competition as a whole. Don't even risk having a closer end. Nurek and VG still at it over towards Chaos. They've finally made some progress, but they are constantly losing players. Chaos continue their PvP prowess.
Nice body physics there. As you know, it's like you're saying, yeah, these Google and Clemenco teams, they could target each other, but I think they know that, if we target each other, if we eliminate that second place option from these other teams, we are going to have such a huge target on our back. We're going to be 120 points ahead of any other team, and we could get raided by multiple different teams. So I don't think they want to throw their whole game to try and eliminate their competition, but that may be the choice. We may see it as it comes down as we get further into it. Google right now, they are going to try and raid Kebab, our current 6th place team. Again, a reminder, there are only 7 teams left alive right
Yep, getting closer and closer as each minute passes. And Google, they don't want to keep it the same, of course. They want to diversify the scoreboard, get as many points up there for themselves as they can, and so far they're on the right track. They have a good amount of area gained within Kebab's base, and now that the garage doors are being blown up as well, it should only be a matter of time before they end up finding the DC.
Yep, they're trying to find the TC, but Kebab is not going to give it up without a fight here. The C4 going to blow through here a floor and towards these beds here. Just a reminder, 23 minutes left, so not a lot of time for these teams to try and get something done. Ivy on an 8-kill streak, as we see those Chaos members still doing a great job of popping that defense, but Kebab, they are trying to get rid of this Google team, trying to get rid of it altogether. You can see bases all around the map. No one is safe here with just 7 teams left. I mean, there is nowhere to hide amongst them.
We're gonna quickly check what's going on the other bases. Pretty peaceful, as if they've never been in a war zone of Rust. Ooh. Comment code. Seems like they're gonna be, they're gonna be in trouble
Yeah.
by Alt. Alt want revenge for technically stealing away the DC, which Clement Code spent like 25 minutes trying to take.
Yep. They want some revenge, but Google, they want some points here as they're going to push on towards Kebab's base. Going to aim for that turret to destroy it. I think it is offline at the moment already, but making sure that they blow that up really good here. And, Google, like you said, they have a lot of space in Kebab's base, but Kebab has shown us that they are fighters, so they're not going to give this one up super easily. They do have to be careful because, Google owns their roof right now. They own all the beds, so they're going to have to most likely respawn either outside or in the lower part of their base.
Yeah, they are clearing out as much area as they possibly can. And with only 20 minutes to go, getting a single TC at this point is actually going to be pretty much the closing factor for Google, because Komenko right now, they're the ones that are getting graded. They're gonna have some of their time is going to get wasted just defending, and they will get points for it if they ended up defending it, but it's not going to be enough to close the gap between them and Google if Google managed to get the TC. And already Google have grown a 17-point lead, I believe, or something like that, just off the PvP points alone.
Right. Yep, they have grown that lead, sprouted it into a nice little lead there. And like you're saying, they'll get defense points for Komentko, but that time that they're wasting now cannot be replaced. See if they can bounce back and recover. But with 7 teams left alive, 20 minutes here, and the 7v7s all trying to still do some damage. Those rockets firing out, but they haven't really broken a hole in just yet. You can see those outer compound walls most likely repaired there for Clementco, and their base is strong right now, but these rockets are going to start to do some damage.
Yep, the compound walls go down. The base walls now following them as well, and there are some entry points present for ULT to work with here now. So this is going to force the rest of the players off Clementco that were actually initially trying to third party Google's raid to come back here and defend their own base.
see what this third party can do, as Tony Stark are making an adventure all on their own through this field. But the alt players, they definitely know they're going to get some shots on towards the Iron Man, taking that man down to just 20 HP. Now White X going around the corner. Stark still healing
Ah,
here. Doesn't realize there's a player shooting on his backside. Quickly gets that wall up. Down to 25 HP once more. But now Klemenko has a flanker of their own to try and take out some of these players.
yep, Daigo. I think he's going towards the bed area directly, going to eliminate the beds, and that's just going to be a big brain play to secure the defending points for Klemenko. And if he does so, that's actually going to be pretty massive because it's going to still give Klemenko enough time to go on and third party and already going on raid, which still allows them to potentially get a TC.
Yeah, that would be huge. Destroying these beds and eliminating those final players of alt would be very, very nice. And, Google, like you said, has really built up this PvP lead, and it is not stopping anytime soon. Over 400 points for them. They're going to be looking here to do some damage, but the players of alt, they want to clear these players out, try and maybe get those beds set back up, but Diego is going to be player to try and defend it all for Klemenko. And Modded Days is going to try and stop that. A 1v1 here as both hold down their walls right now. Neither looking to try and take a peeking angle, but we got to clear out this eventually for Klemenko. You're just wasting time at this moment. Diego going to swing around the corner. The shots will not go in their favor. With 8 health, Modded Days, a beautiful 1v1.
Yo, the damage is done. Oh, wait, never mind. ULT, they have new beds placed. So it doesn't matter anymore what Daigo did all that time. Klemenko, though, they're trying to push out themselves. So
Yeah.
they're trying to go head to head against ULT. Potentially eliminate the beds once again. And reset their whole base. Repair things up if they can clear things out, but gonna have to take these
Yeah.
fights first. And so far, Cody going massive takes 2 out. A player to his right is going to get the trade eventually, though.
The players from all working this maze very well, this maze of walls, going in towards their favor. Time starting to tick down, but Alt doing a good job of just keeping up pressure. And if you're Google, you gotta be happy about this. We talked about the wasted time that is going towards Klemenko. And Google, while this is happening, is still raiding this base of Kebab. They have destroyed a lot. They have a lot of space, but still have not found a way to find that TC.
Well, now finally is trying to win some battles of their own. But the amount of damage that's already been done is quite a lot, as you can see. Google's still struggling to find the TC, and I believe I saw a couple of players of Klemenko around here. I'm not sure if they're close by and trying to third party this.
Right.
Oh, yep, Tony Stark on the right side, trying to third party this and deny Google the TC, although the likelihood of him doing that is going to be pretty low. I'm not even sure if he has a weapon. Is he trying to loot something?
Don't know. I think just maybe sneaking behind the enemy lines. Maybe, like you said, trying to sneak some loot away and see what they can do. But Google, they are inside this outer compound now. But time's starting to dwindle. They would really like this TC. They would also like to cut the teams down to just 6. And again, cut down the amount of teams and make it so the other teams don't have the opportunity to get all of those catch-up points. And a beautiful dropping shot there by the Google player.
With 15 minutes to go, we're probably seeing our final couple of raids go down. Except maybe Chaos and Nurik. That has been going on since eternity. Of course, and it might not even ever end.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like it's ending anytime soon. For Nurik, they have found a hole inside this time, but question is, can they finish it? VG is still around, and VG, I mean, with 15 minutes left, almost already eliminated out of this competition for how many points they have, but at least still trying to get something here at the end of the time. And even if they could steal this away from Nurik, could be huge. Nurik, I mean, again, they were within 10 points of both Google and Clementco, but like, they like you said, they have just spent this whole entire day, their whole entire livelihood on this raid, and it has resulted in nothing.
Quite literally, they've been here for about 45 minutes at this point. Ever since
Mhm.
the 1 hour mark was hit, they have been here. And still, like, they've made a lot of progress. They've destroyed a lot of the base, but still, most of it from within is intact. Nick, they have presence on the rooftop, but no real estate has been gained from within where we can say, okay, they might actually be onto something and they can get the TC potentially. But Chaos, they have been absolutely magnificent in terms of their defense. Sadly,
Yeah.
though, they have been defending for so long that they just couldn't do anything else to put their points up.
Yeah, exactly. They haven't had any time to venture outside of their house. It's just been a good defense, like you said, but it has been constant from two different teams, VG and Nurik, so they've had to stay in their own base this whole time. Klumenko, though, and Google are our leaders right now. Google over 400 along with Klumenko, but Google right now about a 20-point lead. It could come down to this, final 13 minutes if one of them could get a TC, or maybe Nurik could sneak up. Now, Nurik would need to do a lot, and they need to finish this raid off. I mean, we have been stressing it. They have been at it for so long.
Well, we are sort of in the end game of this tournament now,
Yep.
and Google seems like they're in a comfortable spot. The only thing that can sort of mess it up is Clementco getting a TC, but the chances of that happening is quite low considering the amount of time that they have and the state that they were in. They were defending. They did have a couple of players lurking around Gama versus Google raid that was going on, but a couple of
Yeah.
players are probably not going to get you a TC.
Yeah, exactly. Hoping that they can get one, but it is somewhat unlikely as Nurik, they try and take some more space. They own the roof, they own the mid-level, but Chaos is still finding a way to disrupt communication and stay with this base as Nurik unable to find that TC just yet. But I mean, Chaos, they are the members of Shambles Town right now as Nurik continues on pushing forward and continues on to try and get these, but Illustrated once again will slow their push. One player of Nurik alive on the top, but they're going to have to respawn and grab kits once again.
Chaos, okay. It seems like there's finally some presence deep within, but I don't really see exactly how the player of Chaos fell. VG though, still struggling with it, but now we're gonna move back. 17 teams alive, 3 raids going on, so pretty much every team is invested in a raid right now. VG and Nurik, that's 2 against 1 over towards Chaos's base. Clementco versus ULT, Google versus Kamab. So everyone's in some sort of action right now, but it's probably going to be their final ones as we only have 11 minutes to go.
Yep. Only 11 minutes are left to go here, and all are looking to change it for themselves, change it for the better here. Trying to get just something done here as they try and go forward. And, that's all they've been good. They've been doing a good job. Just been a little bit further behind over the other teams here. So they're just trying to catch back up and trying to do what they can, trying to take out Clementco, Google's main rival.
Well, we're. I mean, it's still pretty close between both of them. As I said, they are direct rivals so far, but if Google are unable to take the DC and Clementco actually manage to get the defending points and some PvP, they might overthrow Google actually. Now this is looking a lot more like a possibility.
Yeah, it is a possibility for sure if they can get this defense up, and I think Google knows that, they cannot rest back. They cannot sit and wait these 10 minutes at their own base. They need to push out and they need to get this done. They need to get this TC because, like you said, there is those defense points on the line. If Klemenko gets those defense points, gets some PvP points, we could have a really, really close horse race.
Yeah, probably good. So, but if Google does get the DC, it sort of solidifies their victory. So this is a must win for Google, because if they don't, it's going to be pretty much a sort of a gamble depending on how many PvP points Google gets as well.
Yep, will be depending on how many PvP points Google can get, and hopefully they can look up some ways to get themselves some more points. But, they are deep inside of this base, down on the bottom floor, doing a good job of just going by the textbook here, clearing it out wall by wall, door by door, with all of the boom they have collected. Google, I mean, they were the team that was leading at the end of the attack phase. I mean, we talked how little the attack phase does mean, but it gave them, an extra confidence to right now hold that lead on forward, and we'll see if they can continue it. Hopefully take this TC. That is their plan.
Oh, now Google are getting raided by VG, not the best raiders, but Komentko. You're pretty happy with this because now Google, therefore, they're gonna be forced to back off here. So Kebab, they stay alive. Google denied the TC, but this also is gonna mean that if Google are able to defend, they're gonna get the defensive points as well. So
Right.
VG, they have to get the TC in order for Klemenko to have a chance at winning this.
Yeah, they need to get the TC, and points going to be traded all around here. It is just one final member of VG here looking to raid, but it's like you said, it delays Google at least for the moment. Evil Inc. is going to be sent back to the base, and you don't want all those points to be for nothing. We hop again towards this Chaos base, which is somehow still standing.
More than 50 minutes invested into this by two different teams. And I like what actually VG is doing. VG still have a lot of presence over towards Chaos's base, but they're like, okay, we're not winning this. Why not ruin it for everybody else? That's technically what they've done for Chaos and Nurik both by failing to successfully raid the space. And now they're distracting Google from their ongoing raid as well.
Yep, the most dangerous team is a team that has nothing to lose, and VG, like you said, are in that boat, excuse me, but Spam Space on an 8-kill streak, and Google once again keeping up with those points.
Yep, and now they're going to get the defense points because I don't see anyone from VG around. So that should be the deal done for Google to win this, unless Clementco somehow go massive and end up getting a DC. But other than that, I don't think they. Oh, Clementco actually wait. They're in Kebab's base. They have
Yep.
some presence.
They have some presence here. Kebab somehow also survived up until now, and it is going to be an exciting end to this EU day with just 6 minutes left. Google heads the leaderboard right now ahead by 20 points, but still an opportunity here for any team to catch up. I'd also like to mention Uruk, although, they are a little bit behind. If they could get this TC, there is a possibility that Nurek could come back.
I mean, I didn't think we were considering that was a possibility because they have been fighting for 55 minutes for that one single DC and they have failed to do so. I'm not sure if that's going to happen in the final 6.
Right. We'll see if they can get it, though, and that could shake up the leaderboard, but for right now, Google holding a heavy lead over the top of them by 60 points. So some C4 going to get blown through the walls here. Looks like they're going to start to trade on in, but Klemenko, they start repairing.
Oh, there's some heavy defense going on right here.
Yeah. That could be, that
I
could
sense
be a sign.
DC.
I sense TC.
Spider senses are tingling. But
Yeah.
it doesn't help if those are ours, of course.
Yeah.
ULT, they need to recognize the pattern if there is one. We can't really confirm. Kaz is limited. He can't go through walls, sadly. I mean, he can, but he
He
decides
can,
not
but
to.
yeah, there's 5 minutes left, so now he can actually go through. And
Oh, yep.
after they locked him on in here,
Well,
yep.
gas isn't limited anymore, so we can just go through the whole base at this point.
Yeah, but now Google, they've extended their lead up to 475 points now. That's what they hold at the top of the leaderboard. But under 5 minutes left, an exciting one, ladies and gentlemen, as we get towards this end is going to be good. Google now pushing in towards Kebab's base. We've seen multiple teams inside of it here, but Google going to be the one that looks to, maybe take this final strike here. 4 minutes left, 40 points would be a nice blessing to have right now.
Definitely
Just
would
behind.
be. Scoring, going over 500 is definitely impressive in the span of 2 hours, of course, with half an hour being just attack phase alone. So with only 4 minutes to go, Clementco, it seems like they sadly won't be making the cut as the champions of today's EU tournament.
Yeah, I don't think they will unless Google can be stopped by them to try and take it out. But anything could happen in these final 4 minutes as Google, I mean, you can see that Kebab, they're spawning outside. They have no beds left. They have no real space inside their base. So Google just doing a good job to clear it out. But no Kebab, they are not backing down just yet.
Oh!
Chaos finally eliminated by Nurk. A long
Oh
war
my
of attrition,
god.
an arduous raid, and after 55 minutes, he will be successful.
Holy heck, that took long. Chaos got 317 points just by defending for that long.
Yeah, and I
Th-
mean, look at the leaderboard.
oh my god, that I genuinely had given up hope that Nurek or VG were going to get that DC considering the amount of time they had wasted there already.
Yep. I had really given up hope too, but that does kind of spice things up. Again, Clemento, they have been forced on towards their back foot, on towards this defense here, and they have now been jumped by Nurk. Nurk, if they can pull something crazy here, maybe could do it, but Google right now with a 20-point lead, feeling confident and rating Kebab right now. So if you're Nurk, I think the only option is you have to steal that Kebab raid away, or it's GG's.
Pretty much. GG's indeed. I mean, Google currently sitting at a sort of a comfortable 30-point lead. Nurek, they don't have much. I mean, unless there's a DC sitting at an outer wall where they can just get lucky and blow that wall up. Other than that, Clementco and Nurek, both of them are pretty much done and dusted at this point. And I'm certain it's safe to say that Google are your EU winners. These are just moments of joy for them going on in their VC.
Yeah, I think Google needs to take this DC though just to confirm it. I mean, crazier things have happened in the final 2 minutes with just down 20 points. So, I think Google, like we mentioned, they're not stopping. They are not resting, not giving up. They want this TC of Kebab, and they want to cut down the teams even further. It would be crazy with how many we started with. If Google does get this, it would be cut down to just 5 teams left.
Final minute, final 60 seconds, and the final chance of anyone to disrupt the scoreboard. Nurik, a good amount of PvP points going their way, but I doubt they can kill 20 people in the span of 45 seconds. So we agree that crazier stuff has happened in 2 minutes, but it's impossible, right? Like, no, there's
Surely.
nothing else happening. Surely. Straffy on a 10 kill streak. But surely. Okay. They've jumped to
Okay.
470. Hello? Norik? What the F have you been doing? If you could do this?
Yeah, the one raid at the end seems like it will be it for Nurek. 15-point lead for for Google as Kebab. It looks like they hold on to their
Wait,
base.
wait!
Time will tick
If
down.
Norik are getting raided, they can get defense points. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
See the final scores pop up there. Oh man, Clemento, those defense points. Oh, that was
Uh,
close. That was close.
oh, oh. But for a second, I actually thought that was Nurik's base that was getting raided because if it
Yeah,
was, Nurik were getting
then it would be
handed the
GG.
win.
Oh man, what
Oh.
a day. I just gotta say, EU popping off. I mean, we started with what, 17, 18 teams, all cut down to six. Kebab almost losing their base there too at the end. And you predicted it in Inflict that it's these top three teams, Google, Clemento, and Nurek, that are so close, within 6 points of each other, that will stay at the top of the leaderboard at the end of it.
Yeah, I sort of am a big brain myself sometimes, but I complained that at the start of the raid phase, the game was going pretty slow. We only saw one TC go down in the first 10 to 15 minutes, but the final 2 minutes turned out to be so crazy. Like we had two raids going on that could have turned out either way. Nurik finally ended their an hour-long raid that was going on alongside VG. And Clemento, with just a 4 point deficit away from Google, Nurik, if they had gotten raided by VG instead, they probably would have somehow ended up winners after wasting a whole hour on
Yeah.
a single base.
Yeah, it's crazy. From Google, it's a good day though. You know, they carry that lead from the attack phase all the way through the day. Three successful raids completed. Their kill leader spam space with 80. Absolutely beautiful on those kills. And I mean, you can see even kills pretty much traded all across the board except general manager who had 8 for them. But still a great day for them. 329 total kills, three successful raids. Ended up defending their base some too while doing it.
Yeah, spam space really popping off though. 82 is a really massive number. Usually anyone above 50 is actually pretty good, but they had near miss players, so definitely goes to show the skill that the individuals of Google had as well. But now moving on to Clemento, Yaglin 60 kills, Cody 55, Tony Stark, your favorite player in there with 49, and Daigo, the man who tried numerous flanks but they went in vain with 46 to his name as well. So pretty impressive numbers across the board here as well.
Yeah, very impressive for Clemenco. I mean, you mentioned it that they get that second place finish, and it's very, very close. 4 points off Nurik. I mean, an unfortunate raid, I'd say, for them. 55 minutes of time they invested, but you can look at those kill numbers, and that is where they got a majority of their points. 385 kills. Two of those successful raids completed. You have to think, like you said, this experienced team is going to be coming back in the future, looking to change that one. But with that experience, they came in 6 points behind our leader, and you have to think if that raid went a little bit differently or a little bit faster, they could have been a real contender.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, anyone among the top four were technically a real contender. So it was already too close to call who was going to win. Although I constantly said that Google did win, but it turned out the last 30 seconds could have changed the course of the
Yeah.
whole thing as well. And it's honestly like I'm mind blown by the fact that Nurik wasted so much time and yet we're almost winners.
Yeah, and I mean you got to give it to Chaos for that raid defense. That was absolutely beautiful by them to get it. Alt will round out, fourth. They still get 400 points, not too bad. One raid completed, one raid defense, 340 total kills. Again, a good separation across all of their players, and not a bad amount of points, just a little bit less than the other teams had.
Yep, but that brings us to the end of the tournament. A crazy one, probably one of the best ones that I've seen in my time at Rustorio. So I am honestly out of words. So Lama, you just take it away, man.
Yeah, it was a great one. It was great from all of our teams. You got to appreciate them for showing up and showing out. Now, just a few announcements before we do end it off. Just a reminder, We do have a bug here with Twitch drops, so those aren't necessarily available. But if you want to get some Twitch drops, you can watch multiple streams as one at once. So NA will be at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But between that time, if you want to watch a charitable Rust event, go check out World Central Kitchen. Will be one of those streams that you can check out, earn those drops, and support a good cause. Also, Rain Birds, Big Chase, and Max Mears are all streaming. If you want to check out some friends of Rustoria, make sure to do that. Also, a huge thanks again to Rusty Pot for sponsoring today's stream. A huge thanks to them. Also, again, huge thanks to all the players for showing up, showing out, bringing their teams, and having some fun. Huge thanks to Kaz behind the scenes producing all this for you guys. And a huge thanks you to Twitch chat for all you stopping in here tonight. But that is going to do it for EU Rustoria Base Invaders. Today was 7 mans. Again, we'll have NA at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But for me and Inflict, that is going to do it. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you all next time.
Bye bye.